Hi guys, welcome to today's screencast. We've just done the components of fitness. So now what we're going to look at is the principles of training. Okay. So the basic principles of training. When planning and undertaking training programs, you need to incorporate the basic principles of training. We're going to remember this by the term FIT. Okay, so FITT principles. This is to do with the principles of training, and that's how I want you to remember it. Okay, so the F stands for frequency. The I is intensity, the T is time, and the other T is time as well. So like I said, we're going to remember the basic principles of training through using the term FIT. So with your Cornell notes, what I want you to do now is to write down what each one means and then set yourself a question. And you can do it in your own time, pausing whenever you need to pause. So frequency. This is the number of training sessions you complete over a period of time, usually a week. So this will go on the right hand side of your Cornell notes where it says frequency. You write this down. And you aim for 3 to 5 sessions per week. That is what we're going to be aiming for. So that is frequency done. Okay, so intensity is how hard you train. So how hard you actually train. That is what we're referring to when we talk about intensity. Now, this can be measured or prescribed using our heart rate or our rate of perceived exertion. We will look at the rate of perceived exertion in another lesson because you're going to have to be able to work out how to work at different intensities. But for the time being, all you need to know is intensity is how hard you train. Okay, so time, how long you actually train for, pretty self-explanatory. Do you train for 15 minutes, 60 minutes, half an hour? Okay, so that's what the T for time, that is what the T is for the basic principles of training. And here, so the aim is for 15 to 60 minutes of activity, depending on the intensity. If you have low levels of fitness, then reduce the intensity and increase the time. If you have high levels of fitness, you will do the opposite. So you will increase the intensity and reduce the time. And the final T is type. Now, how an individual will train by selecting a training method to improve a specific component of fitness and or their sports performance. So, for example, to train muscular strength, endurance and power, you could do circuit training or use free weights in the gym. Another example would be to improve aerobic endurance, you would do aerobic training. So you would train for 40 to 60 minutes at a constant steady pace using oxygen for energy. And that is how you would improve your aerobic endurance. So they are, guys, the basic principles of training. Now, we also have additional principles of training we need to know as well. Now, unfortunately, I haven't come up with an anagram to remember this just yet, and there's quite a few of them, but I will come up with one and I'll share it with you as soon as I have it. So, fitness training programs are designed and based on the FIT principle. So, when you're designing a program for someone, you use frequency, intensity, time, and type. But then you can also use the following additional principles of training, and we have here specificity, progressive overload, reversibility, individual differences, individual needs, adaptations, variations, rest and recovery. Now, there's quite a few there. I try and remember it to begin with, the start of it anyway, as sport. So SPOR. Unfortunately, we've also got IAVR and R to get in. So I'll think of a way and then I'll get back to you on that. So specificity. This means training should be specific to the individual sport, activity, or physical skill related fitness goals to be developed. So, for example, in rugby, someone who is involved in a scrum, for example, will do a lot of squat exercises in the gym because it replicates the position they'll be in during the scrum. Another example would be to improve an athlete's marathon time, you'd work on aerobic endurance. So, for a marathon runner or somebody who does long distance races, you wouldn't necessarily spend all your time working on speed or agility or coordination. You'd work on aerobic endurance as their um, component of fitness. So, that's specificity, making it specific. Okay, so progressive overload. In order to progress, training needs to be demanding enough to cause the body to adapt, improving performance. Now, to increase your training workload gradually is the key. You do not increase it straight away, or else you're going to get injured. So this can be done by increasing frequency, intensity all the time. So I may have been doing a program for 2 to 4 weeks, and it may be getting a bit easier for me because I'm used to the demands of those exercises. Therefore, what I might start doing is increasing the intensity of my workload all the time. So let's say I want to become a marathon runner, and I begin by just doing 5 miles a week for 5 weeks. That's going to get really easy for me. And I may do it over a time of, let's say, 1 hour, for example, for argument's sake. Let's say 5 miles in an hour over 5 weeks. Constantly do that. I may think, you know what, I want to do 5 miles now in 45 minutes to half an hour to 45 minutes is how I want to kind of improve. So with that, my intensity is increasing because I'm working harder, and my time has shortened because I'm actually completing it quicker. So that is how you progressive overload. That is how you're going to adapt and develop. Reversibility. If training stops or the intensity of training is not sufficient to cause adaptation, training effects are reversed. A perfect example for this is you have to do pre-season training when your season starts up again. So before your season starts, you do pre-season training. This is because once your season has finished, you rest. Your season's finished and you rest for 3 to 4 months. Therefore, reversibility happens. You kind of lose your fitness levels. And this is the example I've used here. So once you begin your new sporting season, you have to complete pre-season. This is because you have lost fitness over the rest. So over the couple of months you've been resting, you have lost fitness. Therefore, reversibility has happened. Okay. Individual differences and needs. The program should be designed to meet the individual training. Okay, the individual's training goals and needs. Sorry. So this is what I'm going to write down. The program should be designed to meet individual training goals and needs. For example, their ability, their level of fitness, and their skill level. Sorry about that. Adaptations, how the body reacts to training loads by increasing its ability to cope with those loads. So in our Unit 4, Sports Performing Action, we've looked at micro tears. Now micro tears occur due to weight training. So during our recovery time, our muscles repair larger, meaning we can lift more, and that's an adaptation that has taken place. Our body reacts to training loads by increasing its ability to cope with those loads. So our body, our muscles get bigger so we can cope with bigger loads, and they are the adaptations that take place. Variation, very simple. It's important to vary the training regime to avoid boredom and maintain enjoyment. You cannot afford your athlete to get bored. If they get bored, they will not do the program, which means they will not get these adaptations. That's a huge principle of training and actually creating a training program for someone. Last one, guys, rest and recovery. Required so that the body can recover from the training and to allow adaptations to actually occur. So what I want you to do is, once you've done your Cornell notes, is come back to the tables, sit down, and we'll go from there. Thank you.